friends. Host Eric here. Host of Talking with Famous People. The title of this video is Accountability Avoidance Syndrome, Diagnosis and Treatment. And the reason I'm making this video is because, obviously this syndrome is on my mind. Throughout Mercury and retrograde, I've been dealing with people who suffer from this syndrome. I wouldn't say that they suffer from it, though. I would say that, in fact, others suffer from their syndrome, because their syndrome means that they fundamentally fail to acknowledge the equality of other human beings. But the thing is, it's easy enough to get angry about something like that, and certainly I am angry about something like that it exists in the world, that people are that broken, But the thing to remember about it is there's three levels of living. Okay, hi Countess. 3 levels of living: alive, dead, and mostly dead. Hi, Eric Moore. Oh, my beauty. You like that ear. Yeah, it's juicy, huh? It's a juicy ear. So if you've ever seen The Princess Bride, you may recall that it looked like a dark moment in the story, because Wesley was apparently killed. Only when they took him to Billy Crystal, who played the role of, I don't remember what the guy's name was, but when they took him to that magic guy, he put the billows in his mouth and he said, asked some questions and stuff. He said, "Oh, don't worry, this guy's only mostly dead. All dead, nothing you can do. Mostly dead, different story." So I've got here in my sort of growing hand of cards worth of AAS people, I've sort of parsed it out as trying to distinguish between mostly dead and all dead. So essentially, if you are all dead, what that means is your growth engine is fully broken. Accountability is always the growth engine. If you can't be honest, accountability requires honesty. And if you can't be honest, you can't be accountable. And if you can't be honest, you can't grow. So human beings, metaphysically, the life of a human being is the same as physical life of a human being. You can tell something's alive in part because it changes on its own without anything else actively changing it. For people with AAS in the most severe form, what we call daywalkers or the living dead, they have their accountability system is so broken that they have basically no chance of redemption, as far as I can tell, or at least all sort of emergency efforts to save them are their emergency efforts. So if you think about somebody who's suffering from AAS as having a serious heart problem, they're going to have, they come into the hospital and you think they're dead, basically. Now, some of them are already dead and there's nothing you can do. You can't shock them back into life. You can't do anything about it because they're dead. Metaphysically dead. They'll never grow again. And then other types are not all the way dead, and they at least potentially can be salvaged. Do I have the energy to do the work to salvage them? Probably not, but I'm helping right now, right? So my hypothesis here is that we've got 2 of this recent ensemble of AAS people. Basically, 2 of them appear to be daywalkers, fully dead. and 2 of them appear to be mostly dead and thrashing about in agony because there's enough life left in them that they know they're salvageable, but they're not quite sure how they'll ever be salvaged. So my hypothesis is basically that Kimberly and Becky are both mostly dead. AAS is accountability avoidance syndrome. Accountability avoidance syndrome. It's, in the common parlance, it's called like narcissism or something. But I'm trying to do a better job in psychology in figuring out exactly what's going on with these people, because not because I want to fix them necessarily or cure them or anything, because it's too much work. It's not my job, and I don't care that much, But I do want to take away their primary engine of interfacing with the universe, which is dishonesty, muddling, confusion. So I want to take that away by making clear what's going on with people who you encounter who are narcissists or whatever you want to call them. What's going on is that there's two. You can think of a human being as being two living creatures: a physical living creature and a metaphysical living creature. The physical living creature needs to maintain, which is to say, a physical living creature does not need to grow its entire life. So I'm not growing physically anymore. I need to maintain. A physical body requires maintenance. However, a metaphysical body requires continual growth. So if you don't grow, if you're not being accountable, which means if you're not being honest about yourself, you'll never grow. There are such unfortunates who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. I would hypothesize that Becky and Kim are not amongst those categories. That even though Becky is the one who's done Anthony too, but Becky, as far as directing it at me, has done the thing that you might say is objectively worst. But that's the point of AAS, is that it's hard to tell sometimes whether somebody's thrashing in agony, which I believe Becky and Kimberly were, and of course the only cure for this is more agony, basically, until they break. I never was able to get through to Kimberly. It's not that she didn't have life in her. She does. She's not a day walker. But too much work, too much baggage. It would require too much sainthood from me to bring her back to life, to liberate her from the metaphysical wheelchair that she's in. The thing is, I don't think that AAS necessarily correlates with lying to other people. Although it doesn't, it allows it for sure, but it's, like I've noted the whole time, this is one of the reasons why I think that she's not all dead, is that Becky has made at least an effort to not make up shit out of whole cloth, to at least reference things that have some grain of truth in it. Like when she talks about me being to treat my methamphetamine addiction, well, it's bullshit. I don't have any methamphetamine addiction. I'm not treating it with Adderall and stuff, but it's referencing something that's true. I did used to be a meth addict, So she's not just, she's trying to exploit everything she can to hurt me, because as a consequence of her AAS, she's aware of the fact that she's almost dead metaphysically and needs emergency services. So it's understandable that she's going to thrash around and hurt the ambulance driver a little bit. And in this instance, I was definitely being the ambulance driver, in the sense that I was driving along and all of a sudden realized that, look over in the street, and there's this person banging on the ambulance and thrashing about and breaking windows and stuff. And so naturally I shoved her in the back of the ambulance, take her to the hospital, and she's been thrashing about and hurting me ever since. But, the thing is, I don't really blame her for that, but I do hold her accountable to remedy it, which means acknowledge everything, admit she was wrong, head hung low, take her shaming, and redeem herself. Have a chance to, be absolved. But the thing is, I don't think she will. I'm pretty sure she won't, because it takes a lot of courage and a lot of personal strength to fight back from the edge of death. So, I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? Doesn't matter to me. But now I want to talk about the dead ones, the ones who are probably all the way dead already. Definitely Tori, metaphysically, a daywalker. There's zero chance, as far as I can tell. I'm not sure she's even aware that her soul has died, but I'm pretty sure basically she's a metaphysical zombie. And of course, zombies only have one thing in mind: eating people's brains. And, so she'll never stop doing that. It's just a matter of whose brain she's eating in any given moment. As far as this is my diagnosis guess, I don't know for sure. I don't mean to deny anybody a path of redemption. I believe everybody is able to be saved by the grace of God, if nothing else. But I'm just explaining that when you encounter people like this in the world, you need to make a quick and dirty but firm assessment. Possibly salvageable. I'm not giving Becky advice. I'm giving everybody else advice about dealing with people like Becky. I don't care what happens to Becky. And it's like, you at some point when you have like a super crazy kid who's getting into trouble all the time, you've got to emotionally detach and say, this may not be a story that ends well. Some people are so silly that if they can't get you, they will accidentally hurt themselves. If they don't want to let go, then it's only going to get ugly for themselves. Exactly. So, absolutely not, relaxing rainwalker. This is what it looks like when you deal with AAS properly. When you deal with AAS properly, the number one treatment is even considered possibly to be effective for this is the light of day. It's critically important that when somebody's having a heart attack, you don't take half measures. You shock them right in the chest with a large amount of electricity in hopes of bringing the heart back to life. At the very least, if it doesn't bring them back to life, hopefully it will kill them so that they stop hurting other people. But regardless, leave them. I'm not with them, relaxing rainwalker. I am a warrior for the good and justice. I am a warrior against evil, and I am a explainer, a problem solver. I want people to understand that we are currently understanding. You know what? I hate to say this, Eric Moore. It seems like that'd be the case, but the truth is, if you eat a brain, you don't get to all the knowledge from it. You shouldn't necessarily bother with them. I'm not saying you should bother with them. I don't want to bother with them either. I'm saying, at the very least, what we have here is an extremely interesting phenomenon where there's this whole class of people that have been deemed narcissists, and the explanation for what that is and everything is totally unsatisfying. Because it's not describing the actual mechanism of their failure. And the actual mechanism of the failure is accountability avoidance. And so as a consequence, because accountability is critical to metaphysical life. If you aren't accountable, you aren't honest. If you aren't honest, you're metaphysically dead. I have to pull this bong rip. As I mentioned last night, and I really want to reiterate this. Okay, so look, relaxing rainwalker says, yeah, but why do you even care about them? They love your attention and use it against you. They actually, as far as I can tell, they absolutely hate my attention. And they try to use it against me, but it always blows up in their face, and they, as Countess said, accidentally hurt themselves. So, was it last night that I talked about the weed? Yeah. The thing is, it's absolutely the case that, Becky and Tori do not love my attention. They don't like me talking about them, right? So it's critically important always with AAS people that when they try to force, you make sure they experience the opposite consequence. I am going to force you to meow. Then you're going to get the opposite of meow. And you're going to get it relentlessly with a hammer until hopefully there's some spark of life put back into you. Right. I feed people who would victimize me their own brains. Okay, well, they need that, and they need drama to feel alive. Well, obviously I'm not concerned about their comfort level, right? I want them to be metaphysically uncomfortable. I don't want them to be able to settle into their dishonest friend, especially not when it's lashing out at other people, hurting other people, being dishonest across the board. You know, it's like one of the things that made me start up this video this morning is I actually no, because that's the point. Relaxing Rainwalker, that's what somebody who's alive would do. Somebody who's dead or mostly dead doesn't operate like that. They don't operate by saying, I'm going to stop bothering Eric because I really don't want him to talk about me. Because they feel as though great injustice has been done to them. Of course, no injustice has been done to anybody here. The only reason they feel as though an injustice has been done is because they have AAS. That's a way that they actively avoid accountability. So that's fine, Eileen. I'm not mad or anything. So like I YouTube searched TWFP last night. What do I get? I get Taylor's video calling me a narcissist and a creep. I get, Becky's videos that say I'm a liar and slanderer and stuff like that. I don't watch any of that shit. I get Queen's Weakness videos saying about how he's won the battle and that I've retreated and stuff. Ridiculous nonsense, Now, there's another guy, probably an AAS sufferer, I would guess. I mean, almost for sure, because look, he wants to, poke at me, but when I turn around and say yes, he runs in terror. It's like that's another clear symptom of AAS. So what the main symptom of AAS is basically dishonesty. It's an inability to trust another party with judging you. So if I were to be a painter, let's say, and I went to a super famous art professor and said, grade my painting, then that would be a good thing. Oh, well, unfortunately, with his mom, I didn't have the energy to stay up and have fun with him last night. So I like it when the trolls come streaming in. It means I'm doing something right. One way you can sort of self-assess is, are you pissing off the right people? If you find yourself running afoul of AAS people all the time, you're doing something right. You fixed it, 123. You fixed all my problems. Thank you. I appreciate it. Raphael Brandau's here. Oh my God, it's been such a long time since I've seen you. Last night. Jason of Anchor. He thinks he's ENTP. Is he not an ENTP? What is he? Is he an ESFP? They tend to think they're ENTPs. Now, I suspect Anthony's a daywalker because he's been so proactive in avoiding me that it's unlikely he's mostly dead. He's probably all dead metaphysically. But that's the thing. We oughtn't devote our life to chasing these monsters, for sure. That's a waste of time. That's the sort of thing they do. We ought to we ought to we ought to live our own life and spend our time and attention on those who give us joy and who love us and whom we are loving in return. And we ought to spend our lives enjoying not having AAS, namely being accountable, being honest, taking our lumps, and growing and becoming a better human being for it. And recognizing that the only way that we can get better, ultimately, is look for those things we want to hide and reveal them. Those are our areas of wickedness. The light of day is healing. It's the most healing thing in the world. So if you're dealing with an AAS person and they are trying to leverage or position or control or manipulate you, the first thing you want to do about it is be loud. Talk about it a lot. Make sure that these interactions with this AA person don't happen in private. That's what they want. When things happen behind closed doors, it's he said, she said. I would love to have a conversation with Becky and help her to the extent that I can, or realize that there's no salvaging her. But if she runs away from the doctor's office, she's never going to get treated. Tori, I would like to have a conversation with her. Last time I did, I ran into an extremely severe case of AAS. Even though everything I was saying made perfect sense, and even though I was well-intentioned and looking to help and looking to move forward and have her basically, oh my gosh, you've got these tumors on you. Let's quickly process these out of here. She's very attached to the tumor. If I go near it, it screams, it hurts so much. And so, she had a chance that she was here in the doctor's office, and I was healing her. Which means to say, I was holding her fully to account. And she had a moment where she could have given up the pride, broken down, cried, been humble. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't believe I'm like this. That moment. They need to have that moment. Instead, she doubled down. How do you get diagnosed with AAS? What is the full form of AAS? Well, I think it might be manifested in Anthony. I don't know. I've never talked to the guy, but the way that he's behaving, the way that he says, I don't get to reduce and dismiss and belittle you because of something I used to get to do that with. So I'm going to kick you out right now, less than 2 weeks before you're leaving forever anyway, just to be a prick. Well, that's a severe case of AAS, because I didn't even go there with my doctor's outfit on, or my bag, or any of my tools, or anything to help him, or whatever. I went there not even thinking I was on the job. I was off of work, but he could smell a metaphysician so clearly that Anthony's not debating me or anybody. I will get you 1, 2, 3. Chill out. How do you improve each of your functions? The answer to that is you don't. You just thanks, Horse Mumbler. I love flat earthers. So anyway, you don't improve your cognitive functions. You improve your character. You try to make yourself always more honest, more transparent, more decent, and more completely in tune with your negative obligations. And gradually your positive obligations. No, I didn't argue with him. Anthony is Rachel's brother. Anthony is somebody who's not attacking me at all, who's desperately avoiding any contact with me at all, because I took away his fun of having all the power over his sister. He was going to have to negotiate with me about how he treated her for the duration of her stay there until I got her out here. No, we're talking about Rachel's brother. Until I get her out here, and then that's it. I don't need to worry about her anymore. But for right now, my woman is living in a place where they believe that they have a set of triggers that can justify them abusing her for fun. Not the dad. In fact, I want the dad to move out here. If Rachel's moving out here, I would like to see the dad and Rachel both move out here. The dad needs to move away from that guy. And, you know, I know he owns 30% of the house, as I've suggested to him. One of the ways that we can help both attain justice, and if there's any life left in Anthony, maybe shock him back to life, is have the father sell that 30% to Rachel or me. And then Anthony would have to deal with me, of course. And he'd receive a full treatment. He might still be dead after it, but he'd get the no. Because this is the thing. Imagine if you had a little kid who had broken his arm, and you tried to take him to the doctor to get the arm set, and he ran away. And you brought him back, and he ran away. You know, the thing is, that's the problem with AAS, is they are avoidant of accountability, which means whatever's wrong with them, they refuse to accept treatment. And so they get brokener. Rachel's mom moved away to Florida shortly after I got Rachel back to New York. This is something that was in progress before I came around. And regarding the mom, I'm going to try to, I've decided, remove any discussion of her from this equation at the moment because it complicates things unnecessarily. Do I think that the mom is just as responsible as the brother for this whole pot thing? Yeah. Will she be held to account for it? Yeah. For sure. But at the moment, I don't want to open up a third front, you know? It's like I don't need to invade Russia while I'm at it. I can wait till I invade Russia later. Okay, well, Brian, you say, as an ENTP, I had to improve my people skills by learning from blank NFs, you know, from NFPs and NFJs, presumably. Hard to say if it's personal growth or making my FE function stronger. Frankly, I don't think, Brian, you have much to learn from NFPs at all. People don't learn anything from the supervisor type. They just get supervised by them. Oh, yeah, sure. Horse mumbler. People coming in and wanting to be flat earthers or whatever, I would not ever boot somebody for that stuff. People can troll like that legitimately, as far as I'm concerned. Even if they were trolling, if they were coming in and pretending to be a flat earther and they're not, just to see if they can rile us and troll. That's legit. That's legit. You can do that. That's not coming in and trying to shit on me continually, for example. Why do some people seem way less affected by the polar than others? I've seen you type INTJs and commonly they have a more likable, warm FE, but are not nonetheless INTJ. Well, I would suggest this, that FE polar, you get a very narrow band of FE from them. And now, okay, you get a very narrow band of FE from them. Now, here's our receiving FE, all right? If you get your, up here, it's high frequency, it's listener fatigue, it hurts when you get FE frequency up here. Down here, it's so low affect that you just immediately stop paying attention to them because there's nothing communicative or expressive about their FE. So an FE polar person will express a thin band of frequency of FE. If it happens to be here in the middle, they seem pretty socially graceful, or at least not socially awkward. If it happens to be up here or down here, then they seem socially awkward. Regardless, everybody's just getting a thin band of FE, and it's particular factors to exactly where that band is going to be if you're FE polar. Cameron got a thin band of FE that's right in the middle. He's pretty damn not awkward at all, but also he's not engaging at all in that metric. So it's like he's not communicating by FE. He's not picking up shit off of by FE, but he's also not suffering from a default FE that is especially awkward or anything. So that's my take on that. That's my answer for that question. Well, I am safe from coronavirus because I already have the solution to coronavirus. As I discussed before, if anybody else wants the treatment, when you see coronavirus coming around the corner, you just be like, pow, 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 pow. And the coronavirus gets scared and runs away. Today I have to go to the day tournament again. Jeffrey is 3-1 currently, which means he won 3 of his first 4 rounds and he lost one of them. The one round he lost was to Harvard Westlake, one of the Harvard Westlake kids. The current standings go like this: Harvard Westlake, Harvard Westlake, Harvard Westlake, Harvard Westlake, and then Marlboro Girls and my kid and everybody else. So Marlboro Girls and my kid have 1 loss. The Harvard Westlake kids have 0 losses. And every one of the losses experienced by Marlboro or my kid was from Harvard Westlake. Now, note, this is a novice division. And these Harvard Westlake kids came in. They are spreading full blast and clean, too. Clean spreading. I was very impressed with the Harvard Westlake kid that spread that I judged yesterday. But I also think, okay, fine, I can see how he's a novice. He's very young. He's probably a 9th grader, and he's probably fairly new to it. But so it's probably not unreasonable to put him in a novice. Nevertheless, they came in with like basically doing good varsity high school debate LD. But they may be nevertheless the novices for their Harvard Westlake team, and that may be totally fair and honest that they put them there. But if that's the case, then Harvard Westlake's novices are as good as most teams' open and varsity debaters. Now, here's the thing. My kid lost a Harvard Westlake kid because the Harvard Westlake kid was so smart, not because he was prepped for it. Like, basically, he turned cognitive dissonance on my kid. So the mechanism by which the current inequality in how the world treats various nations about nuclear weapons, in other words, the different laws for different countries, basically, it's totally okay for the U.S. to have as many nuclear weapons as we want. But Iran, you try to get 1, and we're going to get it all up in your ass. And that's the U.S. displaying AAS, basically, accountability avoidance syndrome. But regardless, that lawless state of affairs would be best. It would be better if there was. This is what we're arguing. It would be better if they were illegal, basically, nuclear weapons. It wouldn't stop the U.S. from having nuclear weapons, but it would change the conversation between Iran and the U.S., for example, because it would allow that conversation to proceed forward in a frame other than one that naturally and unavoidably creates cognitive dissonance. But it's also the case that with our AF, we are preserving some nuclear weapons, in effect, to retain the deterrence impact of nuclear weapons, which is the primary engine by which the neg usually wins these rounds. In other words, neg usually says, well, we'll lose nuclear deterrence if we get rid of nuclear weapons. And so in my AF case, it says, well, we're not getting rid of nuclear weapons. The resolution says states ought to eliminate their nuclear arsenals. So almost every single person thinks that means, good morning, my precious, spectacular, sunshine-loving morning bucket of Egg McMuffins. Rachel's my bucket of Egg McMuffins. I went outside one day and I said, I'm tired of eating this dry cat food. And then I met Rachel Apollosa, and it was like I had a forever bucket of Egg McMuffins. Accountability avoidance syndrome. Live streaming. Although I am social with friends at work, the grocery store, and some other situations, I find myself not really socializing with people. Do you find yourself doing the same? I don't know, Brian. Am I socializing right now? This is how I socialize. See, the thing is, I don't have a great deal of life that you guys don't see. This really is my life. And there's not really much life that you don't hear about, for sure, at least. If anything happens in my life that's interesting at all, my first thing I do is I go online and tell everybody about it. I'm your McDonald's hash browns? Oh my gosh. And our love together creates the large coffee with 8 creams in it that completes the trio. Wow. Rachel's like a bucket of egg McMuffins. I'm like a McDonald's hash browns. Together, we make love, and a cup of coffee appears magically. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal. It's like when they used to have that Monopoly game at McDonald's. It's like we won all of the pieces. Boy, that Monopoly game, McDonald's thing, was quite a meanity. It was quite a controversy when, because there's somebody cheated that whole thing. The McDonald's, like the guy they hired to run the thing, he's very sneakily made such that somebody who's like rather distant connection to him won it and amenities, eventually got caught. But it's like, how do you remedy something like that? Let's say I had been somebody who had gone to McDonald's, not because I liked McDonald's, because I just wanted to get play that game. And I've been doing it for the whole duration of the game, every day going there and buying hamburgers I didn't really even want to eat because I wanted to get some of those things. And I felt bad about getting free tickets or whatever. Or I wanted to get more than the free tickets I could get. Well, then it would seem to me I'd have a lawsuit. I could sue McDonald's and be like, look, I spent all this money there because you told me I had a chance at least at winning this thing. In reality, I never had a chance. So you need to pay me back for all those meals that I bought because I wanted the ticket. Yes, I ate the food, but that was a corollary that I wasn't really interested in. I wanted those tickets. Yeah, I just want the Happy Meal toys. But your Happy Meal toys are all now tainted with the lies of your Monopoly game. So I can't play with them anymore. Nicolay Shea, what's up? It's me. I'm up because today I gotta go and see the kids who write the ding ding ding. I got a debate tournament today. I gotta leave here in about 45 minutes or so, I think. Yes, Rachel Apelosa is an INFJ. She's my INFJ Wonder Pants, also known as the glorious beginning waterfall that starts the River Nile of Majesty that leads to the ocean of wonder, at the bottom of which you'll find a treasure chest full of Egg McMuffins. That's Rachel. I heard somebody last night on the stream say that they thought that Frank James did a bang-up imitation of me. I don't remember who said that, but my kid's 3-1. He's got 3 wins, 1 loss. He needs to win both rounds this morning, probably to break. If he finishes prelims at 5-1, he'll definitely break. If he finishes prelims at 4-2, he's very unlikely to break. Archangel, you are not an ISFJ. No. Oh, no. You see how you just shut me down entirely with that wrongness? You are no ISFJ, Missy Pants. All right? There's never been an ISFJ in the history of mankind who was as aggressively effie uncaring as you. I kind of think of sunflowers a little bit too with INFJs. Or I think of things like a picture of a sunflower against a plain background. Nice and ba. I think of INFJs as being like this, single notes. Ba. Paw. Paw. This is like INFJ walking through the world, just like paw, paw, paw. ENFP walking through the world. It's like noises all the time, everywhere. It's very different. I like the crisp, uncluttered clarity of the INFJ. INFJ is like living in Montana. ENTP is like where I was last night in downtown LA, which can be very frustrating. And also it could be kind of fun, but it's like I hate traffic. My brain is nothing but traffic jams. Rachel's brain is like clean open roads because she doesn't have to do all the scurrying to get from A to B. She just sort of takes A, B, whereas ENTP goes A, and then I'm making my way to B, gonna go over there to B, gonna find my way 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 to B, B, gonna find my way to B, gonna find my way to B, B. That whole thing, INFJ was going A, B. It's so satisfying for an ENTP to watch. Oh my gosh, that's so uncluttered and clean and free of nonsense. How delightful. Well, see, ENTPs can't even decide what song they are. They keep changing tempos, genres, instruments, and everything else. Because I've only got 3 minutes to play a song. Why? I'm gonna have to squeeze in like 6 different songs into this 3 minutes, though. Ghostwriter, you are finally back into the hexadecimal system. I appreciate that. There's only really, in my mind, 5 important birthdays in most people's life. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and 64. You've had 4 of your 5 important birthdays. On those years, those are what are called our hexadecimal years. Do you ever wonder how old you are in base 8? Well, like I'm 4 10s and 8 1s. Well, if I were 4 8s and 8 1s, then I'd be 40 years old. So I may be 48, but I'm only 40 in base 8. Important to remember. How old are you in base 8? See, the thing is, when you start getting older, you should start telling people your age in base 8. And if they go, like, you're not that young, are you? Oh, did I not mention I'm counting in base 8? Isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun idea? For my older friends here, people who are over 35 or 40 or something, isn't that a good idea? Start changing your age into base 8 after, let's say, age 45. Let me figure out how old my girlfriend is in base 8. Well, she's 3 10s and 5 1s. So if she was 3 8s and 5 8 and 5 1s, then she would be 29. So, Rachel, look, yes, you're 35. Oh, she'd be 31. She'd be 31. Yes, you're 35 in base 10, but you're 31 in base 8. And I'm only 40 in base 8. So let's go with that from now on. I'm 40, Rachel's 31. I recently explained why Elon Musk is more likely an ENTJ than an INTJ in someone's stream. They asked me if I were Frank James. I amused me and said, no, I just hang out at CWFP. I think he's more likely ENTJ than INTJ as well by a substantial margin. I mean, what INTJ spends all that time at work? Has that little SI? Come on. Eric Moore, your picture is accurate. I don't even see what that picture is. Oh, it's a happy face or something? It's really small to see. I love Rachel Lapalosa's circle, though. The little circle next to her name, because it's a picture of me and her loving each other with our hearts. Isn't that wonderful? I love loving with my heart when it's Rachel Lapalosa who's being loved by my heart. Do you know that of all of the wetnesses that the world has thrust upon me in my 48 years, there's never been anyone who's made my towelette as damp as Rachel does. I've never had so damp a towelette before. It's basically like a piece of a towelette that's submerged in water. That's how damp it is. It's subject to extreme seepage. Gliding around the room on the extreme seepage on the floor. There's extreme seepage in here, everybody. Take off your socks and shoes, please. No, your metaphysical socks and shoes, obviously. Hello and good morning. Welcome to Mindfulness Sessions. I'll be your mindfulness guide today. My name is Baron, and I've been working in the fields of mindfulness now for several decades. You know, clients always ask me, Baron, is it easy to be mindful? You tell me. Anyway, I'm glad to see you all here, and if I can ask you to simply take a moment to prepare your space around you there at home. Find a nice comfortable chair. Clear some clutter away from you. Find your space. Find your moment. Find your center. And then I want you to settle into that chair and just take a deep breath like this. And just let it all out. One thing that we can know defines mindfulness is the absence of mindlessness. A mindless mind is one that chatters, that talks. A mindless mind needs to comment always on the experiences they have. We're here today to learn to experience with the mind of an open child, freely, curiously, lovingly, wordlessly. So many people will have the same problem. Let's take a moment to see what our problem is. Let your mind empty of words and thoughts. Picture images of thoughtless words. Picture images of mindless thoughts.
Picture yourself, but just your head. Enlarge the picture and look inside. See the words therein. Sweep them away with your mental broom. Sweep them out the door into the noon. Let the wind blow them down the street. There, quietly, empty, still, and relax. A state of mindful openness is one that does not comment, but merely acknowledges. One that does not attach, but merely knows. One that is constantly ready to be true to the universe. Do you feel the smell of the silence? Do you see the texture of love? These realities are available only to the mindful. Close your eyes. Close them. Harder. Tighter. Shut them. Brian, your eyes are open. Close them, please. Eric Moore, close all the way. Don't cheat, please. Good. Now, instead of looking outwards, instead of looking at the wall, instead of looking at your own knees, look inward, look inward, look inward now, please. Are you seeing your own identity with your inside eyes? Do you see it? Hold it, visualize, see, picture. There, now. With your inside eyes, direct your glance downward at your own knees. Stare at your knees. Longer. Keep staring. Do you see them? Do you know what they do? They're metaphysical knees. They help you to move your bottom part of your leg, separate from your top part of your leg. There. Keep staring. Those knees are your true selves, lefty and righty. One half of you wanting to go this direction, the other half of you a different direction. No person ever traveled anywhere successfully by splitting himself in two. Words are the urge to split yourself in two. Now, bring your knees back together. Squat. Stare at your knees. Up close now. Put your eyes, your inside eyes, right on top of them. Can they split you now? No. They can't. You are unified, whole, one. You are he who chooses. You are she who chooses. You are they who choose. Whether lefty goes left and righty goes right, vice versa, or if they begin then to fight, whether you wish to go out in the morning or the night, these matters are things that you can decide. Now, we've reached about the halfway point in our opening mindfulness exercises. Next, we begin our mental calisthenics. Rise from the squatting position and stop staring at your knees slowly. don't do it too quickly, or you will get the metaphysical bends. There, you looked away from them more slowly. Look slowly there. Now look somewhere else. Over there. No, look to the left. Closer. Look up now. Okay, now open your eyes again. Look, what do you see? How much more mindful are you now than you were just a second ago? At least 40% more mindful. Next, close your eyes. Open them and close them. Open them and close. Do you feel your eyelids getting tired? No pain, no gain. Open them and close them. Open them and close them. Open them and close them now. Keep them closed. Good. Okay, exercise time. I'd like to picture yourself standing, arms, one up and diagonal to the left, the other up and diagonal to the right, legs spread apart, feet on the ground, face forward. Look, I'm standing in front of you, modeling the behavior. Now, jumping jacks, everybody. Mental jumping jacks begin in 1 and 2 and 3 and stop. Horse mumbler. I'm watching you. You're not working hard. Those are half-assed jumping jacks. Anchor Jason Blood, welcome. Welcome to Mindfulness Saturday. We are working today on mindfulness. I am taking the Anchor Jason Blood I've received. I am processing said Anchor Jason Blood and returning him to you cleaner, fluffier, and smelling good. Okay, sorry for the disruption, Anchor. Jason Blood was a little bit loud when he entered the room here, and I understand it's disruptive. Okay, let's get back to mindfulness, please. Eric Moore. Why did you put on disco music on your ghetto blaster? Why did you bring it even? What made you think it would be a good idea to bring a ghetto blaster to Mindfulness Saturday? Have I ever expressed any need for a ghetto blaster? No. Yes, turn it off. Thank you. Well, I know you thought you were going to be mindfully having fun, but that's not the kind of mindfulness we do here. Eric Moore, do you need to go stand outside for a little while? I will send you outside. All right, then. Okay, well, we'll see. I've got my eye on you. All right, so a calm environment now restored, and we can look there to an example of what happens when somebody's not adequately mindful. They get scolded, as Eric Moore just did. Don't be like Eric Moore. Be more mindful than Eric Moore. Okay, anyway. Now we're going to practice doing jumping jacks as fast as possible in our minds. Ready? I will demonstrate. Watch me carefully. And begin. Done. I just did 100 jumping jacks. You aren't going to be that fast yet. You have to actually visualize yourself doing every single one of the 100 jumping jacks. I can visualize that quickly. Why? I am mindful, unlike you, mindless cretins. I am so tired of talking to these mindless cretins. Oh, is this still on? My bad. I mean, welcome to mindfulness training class. Ghostwriter, sit down. Sit your ass down right now. You're being very mindless. Winston's mom has the floor. Winston's mom, please. You were telling us an anecdote about your mindfulness experiences. You were saying time. You were mindless when all of a sudden, please, you've got me on the edge of my seat. Continue. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about spirituality and what it means to be spiritual, okay? A spiritual person doesn't care about what makes sense. They only care about what's spiritual. Number one rule. A spiritual person is somebody who doesn't agree with conservatives because they don't care about people. Number two rule. A spiritual person understands that you've got to be vegan and that there's not any other accessible option. That's rule number three. A spiritual person favors mindfulness over mindlessness. That's rule number four. A spiritual person is tolerant and loving. That's rule number five. A spiritual person will not tolerate hateful people and those who don't like gays. That's rule number six. These are the six main rules of spirituality. Hi, I'm Baron, and I'm here today answering everyone's questions about spirituality, veganism, yoga, politics, what it means to be a really good human being, farmers markets, organic farming. I do questions about modern dance. I got a modern dance background. I can discuss, I'm very well read, especially in the leftist communities, critical theory. I'm very well read on critical theory and identity politics. I can discuss some of the more important social concerns that we have to deal with, things like racism, sexism, homophobia. These are the things I talk about here on the Mindfulness channel, where I'm live streaming about mindfulness. I try to be mindful when I'm live streaming, mindful of what's in my mind and what it's full of. So do we have any relevant questions about spirituality, the self, what it means to be human, how important it is to be vegan, Trump, the monster, why you have to be gay? Okay, well, it's an interesting question. I do agree that it's critically important to not be bigoted. So, yeah, I smoke a lot of pole. I don't like it, but I'm not going to be a bigot. That's why. It's not a matter of having to be anything. It's a matter of choosing to not be a bigot, not be ignorant, not be hateful. So yeah, I take it up the butt. I'm proud of it because I'm not homosexual, but that doesn't stop me from being gay. Yeah, well, I mean, if somebody's holding a pride parade near you, that means they're proud of something. Might be a black pride parade, gay pride, lesbian pride, mentally illness pride, mental retardation pride, might be vegan proud, might be Special Olympics proud, might be, might be gender fluid proud, might be sexuality fluid proud. Whatever the pride parade is there about. Where's my meow? There it is. Get rid of that comment, Ampianek. I don't know what you mean there, but I don't need that kind of shit. I don't need trouble with YouTube. Why is being part of a sect important? Well, because if you're not part of a sect, then you're sectless. sexlessness is one of the worst things that can happen to people. First thing, it's like I am in 6 different sects. Sect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Geez, you are a real dickhead. Why are you saying he's a dickhead? What did he do? Okay, guys, listen. Archangel, listen. Around here, we don't use condescending language or aggressive language when talking to our friends, okay? I know sometimes the world can be frustrating and we can feel like shaking our fist, but we don't shake it. We instead turn our palm open and say, come, place your palms against mine. There, do it. Anchor and Archangel, can you please come together in the center of the room? Please, both of you stand up. I know it's not your fault. I know. I'm not blaming anybody. That's the difference between me and you guys. Anchor, Jason Blood, I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you. Archangel, I'm not blaming. There's no blame here. There's no blame. It's your fault? Sure. I will shame you in the middle of the room, yes. But there is no blame. Okay? Blaming is how people cause pain to other people unnecessarily. I don't have to blame either Countess or Archangel or Anchor Jason Blood or anybody else to point out that it's their fault and it's time for us to condemn them. So join me, please, in doing the right thing. Let's not blame either Ampianek or Anchor Jason Blood or Countess or Archangel. And let's simply point out to them that it's entirely their fault and we hold them in contempt because of it, and we'd like to publicly shame them. That's perfectly reasonable. But do not blame. That's not okay. Ampianek, hey, we are all feminists here, okay? There are no wicked people here. We are all feminists. As a general rule, I'd like to see each of you, Archangel, language, please. Again, each of you, men out there, Anchor Jason Blood, listen. We have to remember Archangel is a woman. And as men, we have a biological urge to rape that makes us rapists. So, remember when she lashes out, she's expressing the pain of a million generations of women down through history, screaming no more to the patriarchy. So please, Anchor Jason Blood, deal with her with the utmost respect. She knows what it's like to have a vagina. That's something neither you nor I will ever know. Historically, what has that meant? Oppression. Now, finally, we're entering into a time when it means what it should mean, that women are impossibly better than men at everything, and that they need to be the center of all of the stories, and that not only do they give birth to children, but they also impregnate themselves. And that's pretty impressive, because I can't do either. By the sound of it, you were definitely dropped. Okay, Archangel, I have said before, no genital shaming allowed. Okay? For good reason. I'm putting you on a timeout, Archangel. Yeah, you're going on timeout for that shit. The thing about that is, as a general rule, you shouldn't talk shit about body stuff. Like, talk shit about fat people, because one of the people you're talking to here is probably fat. You know, you shouldn't talk shit about bald men because somebody here is probably bald. Those things are irrelevant about people. And it's like, I've had to be aware, though, that certain subjects I generally won't broach or talk about, or jokes I won't make, because I understand that it's reinforcing vectors that don't matter. Like, like, let's put it this way. Archangel's shit that she said there, genital shaming shit, is not something that is ever going to trigger me. Okay, it's like, so it's because of that fact, it's conceivable that I could be like, make jokes about or reference or whatever my junk in a way that was self-aggrandizing or whatever you want to say. I don't. I try to remember not to. Why? Because it reinforces a vector that makes some people feel bad about themselves unfairly, and that's not okay. So, God damn it, Countess, you're getting timed out too. You better watch yourself. You're not listening to what I'm saying here. I don't like that. It's not okay for the reasons I'm articulating right now. Ampy-Neck's Countess. That's who Ampy-Neck is. Now we understand who Ampy-Neck is. I will say, Countess, you did a pretty good job of faking it with Ampy-Neck. I believed you were Polish. Okay, Anchor Jason Blood, listen. I'm not disputing the fact that Countess started it, okay? But I want to stress that you open up a teachable moment here. Ad hominem refers to justifying a conclusion by your assessment of the person who's making the argument that you're concluding about. Countess, you are on timeout. All of you are on timeout. All of you, the yous, Countess, are on timeout, including that one. Okay, well, look, as far as remember, there was, no, anchorages in blood. I'm not saying the body shaming jokes affect you or apply to you or whatever. What I was trying to say there is, I don't even like that. I just don't like that vector of shit. So, for example, I don't want to have to do that whole subtle thing I just did again. Pay attention, for God's sake. I just expressed everything I need to express about that whole thing. I don't want to go over that again because it's doing the thing I'm saying I'm trying to avoid doing. You see what I'm saying, everybody? Does anybody see what the fuck I'm saying? Anybody get my fucking innuendo and all that shit and understand without me having to fucking lay it all out there? Yeah, that's not the meaning of the word. That's a bastardization. Vicious ad hominem attacks. That is not a correct use of the word. That may be how it's used in common parlance in the contemporary world, but ad hominem is a fallacy. It is a fallacy of justifying conclusions with evidence about the person making the argument. So, like, well, we know it's a bad idea for people to ride the bus because this person over here is incredibly awful and they're constantly on buses. Well, that's not a justification for your conclusion, you know? That's an ad hominem fallacy. Another kind of ad hominem fallacy is, well, Joe thinks we should do this, and Joe's an awful person, so we shouldn't do that.
right? Joe says we should have breakfast, and Joe's a mass murderer, so we shouldn't have breakfast. That's another kind of ad hominem fallacy. Now, ad hominem attack, I guess, would be. Matthew says he's wrong. Ad hominem is just insults unrelated to argument. Insults unrelated to argument. I verify the truth with FI. If I'm walking down the street and you call me a jerk, that's ad hominem. I double checked this with TE. If I use that as my modality, then I won't run into any problems. You have a get together with the ladies from the camp? Okay, well, I hope you have a good time. And you're going to sister's area today, and then you're going to your sister's area? Do you want to call me, Rachel? I think my phone probably is charged. I want to know what's going on with you before you whatever's going on with you today. So yes, what Jose Edgar is saying is that when we go after someone by taking a small grain of truth and using that truth to hurt someone either in fun or as a way of shaming is wrong. Well, it's always wrong to hurt someone in fun, but that small grain of truth, it's always wrong to shame somebody for a small grain of truth as well. But what I'm saying is, it is appropriate to shame people for bad behaviors, and that's it. You know, I will either one. My phone should be charged by now. I'll Google Hangouts you right now. I got to end this live stream. It's a good timing because I got to go. I got to leave for the tournament right now. Anyway, I got to judge around at probably 8:00, and it'll take me 35 minutes to get there. So, all right, I got to go. Bye. Thanks for being here, everybody. Love you all. Don't forget to eat plenty of.